April 1991. An NSA analyst in Washington presses play on an intercepted phone call. A woman speaking Mandarin identifies herself as Luo. She's chatting with a Chinese intelligence officer in Beijing, casually revealing the travel schedule of an FBI agent. The tape lands on Bill Cleveland's desk, FBI's top China expert in San Francisco. He listens. He knows that voice. Katrina Leung. Codename, PARLOR MAID. The FBI's most valuable spy inside China. Her intelligence has reached 4 American presidents. The Bureau has paid her $1.7 million over nearly 2 decades. She's been working for Beijing the entire time. Cleveland chooses silence. He's been in a secret affair with her for 3 years. Her Los Angeles handler has too. Both men believe they are the only one. They bury the tape. Katrina keeps spying for 12 more years. How did a Chinese businesswoman seduce 2 FBI agents and fool America's premier law enforcement agency for 20 years? And how did she walk away with only probation? In 1970, a 16-year-old girl steps off a plane in New York City. She carries a small bag. Her passport says she's from Taiwan, but the birth date has been altered. She speaks fluent Cantonese. She's fleeing the shadow of communist China, chasing the American dream. She's scouting a new home for herself, earning degrees from America's top universities. Life moves forward. She meets Leung, and they wed. The FBI also enters her life, asking about people in her circle. She cooperates without hesitation. A simple request. A small seed planted. In 1980, Katrina and Kam moved to Los Angeles. They settle into an apartment building in a quiet neighborhood. The FBI has a different name for that building. They call it a nest of spies. Multiple tenants are under investigation. Chinese nationals with suspected ties to Beijing. People moving in the shadows of American intelligence. Katrina fits right in. She takes a job as general manager of an import-export company. On paper, the business looks legitimate. Behind the scenes, the FBI suspects it's funneling American technology to China, including computers, electronics, and components with military applications. In February 1981, the FBI opens an investigation into Katrina Leung. They believe she's gathering intelligence for Beijing. Then she leaves the company. The investigation goes cold. The file closes. Katrina moves forward and rises, building a new image for herself. A respected businesswoman in the Chinese-American community. A Republican fundraiser shaking hands with politicians. A charming socialite hosting lavish banquets for visiting Chinese diplomats. She climbs the social ladder in Los Angeles. Everyone notices her. Everyone trusts her. China plays the game differently than the Soviets. They call it 1,000 grains of sand, tiny bits of information gathered by ordinary people like students, businessmen, and tourists. Each grain seems harmless alone, but together they bury mountains. Katrina Leung is one of those grains, positioning herself exactly where Beijing needs her, near power, secrets, and the FBI. The Bureau thinks she's just another immigrant success story. In August 1982, an FBI agent named James J. Smith knocks on Katrina Leung's door. He's a veteran counterintelligence officer, a Vietnam veteran who joined the Bureau straight from Army intelligence. He spent years hunting Chinese spies in Los Angeles. He thinks he's found his greatest asset. He wants to recruit her. He wants to turn her into America's most valuable weapon against Beijing. For months, they meet in coffee shops and quiet restaurants. He asks questions. She gives answers. She's charming, smart, and eager to help. December 1982 marks the moment it becomes official. Smith enrolls her as an FBI asset and names her PARLOR MAID. Katrina will pretend to defect to China's Ministry of State Security. Every secret she gathers goes straight back to Washington. In 1983, something else begins. Smith and Katrina start a secret affair. He's married. She's married. They meet privately at her home in San Marino, California. The line between handler and asset disappears. The professional relationship becomes personal. Smith is falling into a trap he cannot see. In March 1984, Smith helps Katrina become a United States citizen. 3 months later, in June 1984, China's Ministry of State Security recruits her. Beijing believes she's a low-level source inside the FBI's Los Angeles office. They give her a handler named Mao Guohua. They think they planted a seed inside American intelligence. Everyone believes they're winning. The FBI thinks Katrina is their double agent, spying on China for America. China thinks Katrina is their mole, spying on America for Beijing. The truth is simpler and darker. Katrina Leung is playing both sides, and she's the only one winning. Over the next 2 decades, the FBI pays her more than $1.7 million in cash and expenses. Her intelligence reports travel all the way to the top. 4 American presidents read her briefings. The CIA praises her work. J.J. Smith receives awards for running the Bureau's most valuable China asset. She's copying classified documents from Smith's briefcase while he showers after their meetings. Those secrets travel straight to Beijing. The FBI believes they turned a Chinese immigrant into an American spy. In reality, China turned an American operation into their greatest intelligence victory. Between 1985 and 1990, Katrina Leung rises dramatically in the West Coast Chinese-American community. She organizes high-profile banquets for visiting officials from Beijing. She entertains diplomats, businessmen, and politicians. She becomes the woman everyone wants to know. During this time, she meets President Yang Shangkun, one of China's most powerful leaders. She charms him completely. He becomes her patron, opening doors that few Americans could ever walk through. In 1988, China decides to open a new consulate in Los Angeles. They ask Katrina for advice on the location and design. The FBI is thrilled. They plan to bug the building, planting hidden devices to capture calls, faxes, and emails. It's a major intelligence operation. Soon after the consulate opens, the devices go dead. The FBI considers whether information may have been passed along. J.J. Smith affirms that Katrina was unaware of the surveillance, reflecting his own lack of knowledge. Investigators bring the matter to a close. That same year, Katrina begins a second secret affair, this time with Bill Cleveland, the FBI's chief of Chinese counterintelligence in San Francisco. Smith introduced them years earlier. Cleveland is a respected agent, deeply religious, and considered a mainstay in the FBI's China program. He falls for her just like Smith did. Now Katrina has 2 FBI lovers. Both are married, both are senior counterintelligence officers. Both believe they are the only one. She has access to America's most sensitive China operations from 2 different FBI offices. In 1989, the Tiananmen Square massacre shocks the world. China locks down information. The country goes silent. The FBI sends Katrina to Beijing to report on the political climate. She returns with rare intelligence at a moment when information from China is scarce. The CIA praises her work, and her reports reach 4 American presidents. In March 1991, Katrina travels to China again. This time she meets Jiang Zemin, the Communist Party's general secretary and future president. She also meets Jia Chunwang, the head of China's Ministry of State Security, and her handler Mao Guohua. The meeting is about more than intelligence. Beijing wants Katrina to expand her influence in American politics. They want her to become a major Republican donor. The MSS agrees to fund her political donations, starting with $10,000. Katrina Leung is now connected to the highest levels of power in both countries. She dines with China's future president. She shapes American policy with her reports. She funds political campaigns with Beijing's money. She's playing the most dangerous game in the world, and she's winning. In April 1991, the NSA intercepts a phone call between Los Angeles and Beijing. A woman speaking Mandarin identifies herself as Luo. She's talking to a Chinese intelligence officer named Mao. She's casually revealing the travel itinerary of an FBI agent who recently visited China with the State Department. The tape lands on Bill Cleveland's desk. He listens. He recognizes the voice immediately. It's Katrina. The travel itinerary she's revealing is his own. Cleveland panics. He calls Smith. Both men travel to FBI headquarters in Washington for a high-level meeting. Their careers are on the line. Their affairs are on the line. Everything they've built could collapse. Smith defends Katrina. He argues that Parlor Maid is too valuable to shut down. He convinces his superiors to keep her on the payroll. The FBI accepts his recommendation. The case stays open. Katrina keeps spying. In 1992, another warning arrives. A reliable source tells the FBI that a woman named Katrina inside the Bureau is working for China. She's a double agent passing sensitive information to Beijing. Smith dismisses the source as a liar and a misogynist. The warning is ignored. Meanwhile, at her home in San Marino, California, Katrina continues her routine. Smith visits regularly. They have their affair. He leaves his briefcase unattended while he showers. She opens it, removes classified documents, copies them on her home machine, and returns them before he notices. Those documents travel straight to Beijing. Smith treats Katrina like a member of his squad. He shares operational details, case updates, and sensitive intelligence. He trusts her completely. He remains unaware that she is photographing everything. Agents and supervisors in the FBI's China units come and go, but Smith stays. He is the sole guardian of Katrina's operational history, the only one who controls her file, and the single authority on what gets reported or buried. In July 2000, a new China section chief named Ken Guide takes over. He comes from outside the established circle. He brings an independent approach, separate from Smith and his methods. He pulls the Parlor Maid file and reviews it from the beginning. He reads the warnings that were ignored. He studies the intercepts that were buried. He examines the investigations that were closed too quickly. Guide reaches a troubling conclusion. Katrina Leung was likely known to Chinese intelligence since her graduate school days at the University of Chicago. She may have been an MSS asset from the very beginning. The FBI's greatest success may have been China's greatest victory all along. In November 2000, J.J. Smith retires from the FBI after 30 years of service. The CIA awards him the National Intelligence Medal of Achievement. His colleagues praise him for running one of the Bureau's most successful China operations. Katrina Leung is celebrated as one of America's greatest intelligence assets. Smith leaves the Bureau a hero. He remains unaware that everything is about to collapse. His retirement changes everything. The one person shielding Katrina Leung for nearly 2 decades is gone. Her protection disappears with him. In 2001, another disaster strikes. China discovers 27 hidden listening devices inside President Jiang Zemin's Boeing 767. The plane was purchased from the United States and customized for his personal use. American intelligence planted the bugs during the refitting process. The devices are found everywhere, including the presidential bathroom and the headboard of his bed. Beijing is furious. Investigators in Washington suspect Katrina leaked the information about the surveillance operation. She knew about the bugged plane. She told Beijing. Another American intelligence operation destroyed. In December 2001, the FBI begins secretly monitoring Katrina under a FISA warrant. They tap her phones. They intercept her emails. They track her faxes. They follow her movements. They install hidden cameras. They watch everything she does. The surveillance catches something unexpected. Smith and Katrina are still meeting regularly, even after his retirement. They rendezvous in hotel rooms across Los Angeles. Agents film them being intimate. The 20-year affair is now captured on tape. The evidence is undeniable. In early 2002, FBI Director Robert Mueller receives a full briefing on the case. He erupts with anger. The Bureau now faces a devastating reality. Nearly 2 decades of intelligence from Katrina Leung may be compromised. Her reports are now suspect. The operations she knew about may have been betrayed, and every secret she touched could have found its way to Beijing. On November 11, 2002, Katrina prepares to fly to China. Before she boards the plane at Los Angeles International Airport, FBI agents secretly search her luggage. They find a fax from Smith. It contains photographs of 6 FBI agents, including 2 still on active duty. She's carrying the identities of American intelligence officers to Beijing. On November 25, 2002, Katrina returns from China. Agents search her luggage again. The photographs are gone. She handed them over to her Chinese handlers. In December 2002, the FBI interrogates Smith. Agents confront him with the evidence: the hotel tapes, the intercepted calls, the missing photographs. He denies having an affair with Katrina, calling it a purely business relationship. But he admits something damaging. He probably told her too much. On April 9, 2003, FBI agents arrive at Katrina Leung's $1.3 million home in San Marino, California. They arrest her in the morning. They arrest Smith at the same time. The woman the FBI celebrated as their greatest asset stands in handcuffs. The secret that lasted 2 decades is finally exposed. The unraveling is complete. The real question now is how much damage she caused and whether America will ever know the full truth. Federal prosecutors charged Katrina Leung with unauthorized copying of national defense information with intent to benefit a foreign power. They charged Smith with gross negligence in handling classified materials. The charges carry decades in prison. Agents search Katrina's home and find a treasure trove of secrets. In her safe, they discover top-secret NSA documents. They find a 1994 FBI telephone directory listing agents across the country. They recover phone lists connected to the Peter Lee espionage case, a physicist who leaked classified defense information to China. They seize a 1997 secret memorandum about Chinese fugitives. These documents are unauthorized in her possession. Then Katrina does something unexpected. She opens her safe herself and hands over NSA summaries of her own intercepted calls with her Chinese handler. The same calls that exposed her years earlier. She kept copies as insurance. During interrogation, Katrina offers an explanation. She claims she was originally loyal to the FBI. She says China discovered notes in her luggage during a trip and forced her to confess that she was an FBI asset. She claims Beijing pressured her into sharing intelligence with the MSS. She paints herself as a victim caught between two superpowers. Investigators find the story hard to believe. The evidence tells a different tale. 20 years of copied documents, secret affairs with 2 FBI handlers, meetings with China's highest leaders, millions of dollars in payments from both sides. She operated as a professional double agent. The case moves toward trial. Prosecutors prepare to expose one of the worst intelligence failures in American history. They plan to show how Katrina Leung fooled the FBI for 2 decades. They want justice. Then everything falls apart. Smith cuts a deal with prosecutors. He pleads guilty to lying about his affair with Katrina. In exchange, the government drops the gross negligence charges, but his plea agreement contains a clause that changes everything. It bars him from speaking to Katrina or her lawyers about the case. Katrina's defense team sees an opportunity. They argue that Smith is a key witness. They claim Katrina has a constitutional right to confront him. The clause in his plea deal violates that right. On January 6, 2005, U.S. District Judge Florence Marie Cooper agrees. She dismisses the entire case against Katrina Leung on grounds of prosecutorial misconduct. The government's case collapses. Prosecutors appeal. They refuse to give up. They come back with new charges: tax fraud, lying to the FBI about her affair with Smith. Smaller crimes, easier to prove. On December 16, 2005, Katrina Leung accepts a plea deal. She pleads guilty to 1 count of lying to the FBI and 1 count of filing a false tax return. In exchange, she agrees to cooperate with full debriefings. The judge announces Katrina's sentence: 3 years probation, 100 hours of community service, and a $10,000 fine. She walks free. J.J. Smith receives his sentence separately: 3 months of house arrest, 3 years probation, and a $10,000 fine. He walks free too. Bill Cleveland, another FBI agent involved with Katrina, remains uncharged. He resigns from his position at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory the day after the arrest. His career ends quietly. His reputation is destroyed, but he walks away free. The woman who spied for China for 20 years serves 0 days in prison. The agent who protected her serves 0 days in prison. The full extent of the damage Katrina Leung caused remains classified. Investigators believe she compromised countless operations. She may have exposed Chinese defectors who trusted America. She may have destroyed years of intelligence gathering. The truth stays buried in classified files. Today, Katrina Leung lives in California. She avoids the spotlight she once craved. She stays silent about her past. The spy who seduced the FBI got away with everything.